Hey guys, thanks a lot for your patience yesterday with everything. So, the good news is my son tested negative for COVID, but he also had a double ear infection on top of this cold thing that he has had. So, anyway, we're all good now. Sorry for the drama yesterday. It was just one of those days. So, I'm actually going to revise what we're going to do today. And the reason why I'm going ahead and showing you this screen is because this is what I had originally showed you that we were going to do on Wednesday today, which is the Google form. But since we only got halfway through the Jamboard yesterday, um, instead of the Google form, I just want to finish the Jamboard. So today, what you're going to do is you're just going to finish the Jamboard from yesterday. So we started off by having you fill out this chart yesterday about if you have a smartphone, how many hours are you on it? What do you use it for? What social media do you use? If you ever had a negative experience, and do you have FOMO, fear of missing out, when you don't have access to your phone? So, thank you for adding your thoughts to that. It is much appreciated. Just kind of gets us in the mindset of some good things and some bad things about the world of social media and smartphones. So, when you read paragraphs 1 and 2 yesterday, the author was really focusing on some positive things that can come from access to social media, smartphones, etc. Lots of connecting with people, friendships, identity different from your parents, all those kinds of things are all positives, much like we talked about in the article last week, where the author was trying to talk to us about some positive things about social media. But then in the next two paragraphs, it takes the turn. Now she starts talking about the negatives. Okay, this is the other side of the argument, which is where she's going to stand for the rest of the article, because she does believe that it negatively affects us by being on our phones too much and on social media too much. So she specifically talks about it's almost like addiction, right? Like you become addicted to it. That it can mess with your social development, your emotional development. It can make you more anxious. Um, and there's just more of a risk to your brain development, um, your physical development, your social emotional development, because you're not, really interacting with people and learning how to form relationships in that way. So that's kind of what she talks about there. Then on the next slide, she actually talks about how social media is like a stimulant to the brain, like coffee, caffeine, those kinds of things that give you like a natural chemical boost. She's saying that social media can do that to us as well. But the other side of it is, sometimes it can make us more impulsive as well, because it's like this sense of urgency. Like everything has to be done fast. You have to reply fast. You have to play your game faster. You have to, be the first one to do something. It really becomes something that it makes us a little more impulsive, she's saying, um, because of the sense of urgency that it creates. Okay. Also, she talks about how it causes us to behave differently than we would if we were face to face with someone, which I think is a valid point. Um, it's much easier to say something mean in a text than it is to somebody's face. And she kind of talks about that as well. Um, then, oh, here we go. Then we talked about this analogy down here about how you can't get a driver's license just by passing an online test. You actually have to drive in a car. You have to have real hours of driving. And she's saying like this same practice is required for the social and emotional skills that you need to navigate life. And if you're just behind a screen all the time, you're not really getting those real life situations of relationships, face to face relationships. So her audience here is I don't know if anybody on here actually. Oh, yep, a couple people. Yeah, make sure you're answering this question as who is the audience. I'm not asking what the analogy is. I'm asking who the audience is. Talon, Talon, you nailed it with yours, right? Um, Parents of teens or teens. I would say specifically, she's targeting teens here by using that driving analogy. But I could see where you come with parents of teens too. So well done, Talon. Maybe somebody else had it on there too. But I think a lot of you are trying to explain the analogy, and that's not what it asked us to do. So make sure you're careful about that one. Now, here's the new stuff. So for this one, they're asking us, what are your thoughts about what she says about friendship and social media? So that's what you're going to reply to on this one. Okay. So she's going to talk about meaningful friendships in real life versus online, and can you actually have a meaningful relationship or friendship online and not in person? Okay, so that's kind of what she talks about here. So I want to know your thoughts. Do you agree with what she's saying, or do you disagree, and why? So kind of give me a little heads up here about, if you think she's right about what she's saying about relationships online versus relationships in person, or if you disagree with her and think that she's incorrect. That's what I want you to talk about on this one. And then slide 8 is just a reader. That's it. You'll see there's no question over here. This is just a snippet, photograph from the actual text. So go ahead and read those. This one's going to talk about FOMO, fear of missing out. Okay. And also how you can almost have like withdrawal, like people from, medications, from drugs, from whatever, can go through withdrawal and have withdrawal symptoms. She's saying that if you're without your phone, like your parents take it away or can't have it for some reason, like it can really make you have like withdrawal and put you into depression, is what she's talking about in there. And a little bit about school as well and how it negatively impacts our focus in school. Now, this is going to, I think, there's one more, sorry. So this one says, at this point in the article, the author's claim about social media seems pretty clear. How would you sum up her claim? So basically, you're going to read these where she gives you some evidence. So you can see it says right here, studies show. So this is where she's actually going to bring in the research to try and really drive her point home and say, like, listen, here's what the experts say. Use this as part of your convincing of what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. So I want you to read these. And then after you read these, I want you to note on here, what is her claim? So now that we've read everything we've read that she's written and we've kind of dissected it a little bit, I want to know, what is she saying about social media? What's her claim? Is it good? Is it bad? Why? Why not? What does it do? Whatever. I want to see a really good claim on here, what you think the point she's trying to drive home. And then at the very end, you're going to finish the article where she drives it home, right? She wraps it up. And then I want to know, which article do you tend to agree with more, last week's or this week's? So last week's was this article called It's Complicated. And if you remember, the author was really arguing that social media is a positive, that it helps kids to stay connected, friendships, it doesn't really affect us negatively, etc. Or the one we read this week that is very different in its approach. So I just want you to either put your name over here or put your name over here. There's no right or wrong answer to this one. It's just really what you think. Do you tend to agree more with the argument in this one from last week that was very pro social media? Or do you tend to agree with the article that we just finished now that's very anti social media for teens and probably adults as well? And that's it. So I just want you to add to the Jamboard. So I should see your name on every slide. The only one would be maybe the first slide. If you don't have a smartphone, obviously you're not going to be able to reply to the first slide, but all the rest of them I want to see sticky notes on, and that'll be your points from yesterday and today. So I hope you have a great Wednesday. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate. I will be on live Wednesday in office hours, all that kind of good stuff. So if you need anything, please don't hesitate. Alrighty? Talk to you guys soon. And thanks again for your understanding.